to before I forget. Yeah, I don't know if I'll stream making the DLC. I'll probably stream it at some point because I just like streaming while I work. So possibly in one day, we'll see. So you can't even fulfill simple requests like making a video game? Simple request? How about you fulfill this simple request? Points at balls. No context. Okay, now we can delete the briefcases out of the main train. And it feels more like the actual video game. The only place we give items to the player at the start is inside of their locker. All right, nice. Now let's see if any briefcases spawn anywhere else. Oh, hey. Okay, that's just funny, huh? You think you're funny, game? There's another one. Okay, this might be too high of a percentage chance for them to spawn. Guys, I think I just saw another one. There's too many of these fucking things. Redeemed 5 push-ups? I'm gonna shit myself. Live. On stream. I like how the Tomato Man doesn't care about the explosion. I do need to make him react to sound. He does not react to sound currently. Well, I gotta check if we're live on YouTube. Uh-oh. I am. Uh-oh. Get out of the way, bomb guy. He can open the door? I guess he can. Maybe, yeah, I don't think briefcases should have a 10% chance of spawning. I feel like it should be, much lower than that. Will I be throwing $99 down for the Steam Controller 2? Okay, someone fill me in. Is the new Steam Controller called the Steam Controller 2? Or is this just a meme about the sequel about the Steam Controller? Oh my fuck. Oh, he hit me through the wall. What's that number that goes up when the enemy's within line of sight? The number that goes up is their aggro counter, their aggro meter, basically. Once it reaches 1, that's when they become aggressive and they start chasing you. Yeah, that shit costs $150. Like, sure, it's a tax write-off, but like, there's rats in here. What would you say percentage-wise the game is being done at the moment? This game? 10%. Now, if we do the math, it's not very good. If it's 10%, and we've spent 6 months... that means we have another 48 months to go. No, I feel like we're getting there, but the gameplay loop isn't fully there just yet. Yeah, he's chasing me. Open the door, open the door, open the door. He's still there. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Can you move out of the way? I'm working. Realistically, I don't know. I think we're like 20% of the way there. We still have some big things to cover for the gameplay loop to make it like fun. Some very big stuff to still do, like audio stuff for the monsters. The whole quota system, I think, still needs some work. Yeah. Yeah, still quite a bit of work to be done. Would this be my second game to release on Steam? Yeah. Yeah. It would be. Is it ideally a 4-player game? We're gonna play test to see how many players we could fit in the game. I think I'd like to aim for 6 as the max. But we'll see. Minimum? Minimum 1. I'd like to make it also single player capable. If we can. If we can get it to be single player capable, I think that'd be great. Turn off all the maintenance tasks when docking at a station. Item delivery system. Front train engine panels. Let's add another checklist. We'll call this the speed lever. And then another thing we'd want at the front train engine. Health state. And then what's another thing that we'd want at the front of the train? We've got the microphone in progress. Sure, you're really taking that into consideration when designing the game mechanics? The player count? Yeah. A horn? Yeah, a horn would be kind of funny, huh? A horn. Oh, and the other thing we need to do is the welfare check. We have a welfare check button to see if all the players are alive. That's going to be a maintenance task. That'll be somewhere. Side mirrors? Okay, why? why would there be side mirrors? A small fan? A small fan is actually a great idea. A little tiny fan. That'll look kind of cute. You might be onto something. You might be onto something with the small fan idea. A place to hang trinkets, like a dashboard. I was literally just thinking about that because I think that'd be a fun little customization thing, but that would be a rear view mirror. But let's be real. What are you rear viewing? What are you looking at in the rear view mirror? There's nothing to look at. There's no there's nothing there. That button not being centered is triggering. Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. Stay mad. Oh yeah. Stay mad. Why is that green? That button is that meant to be green? Why is that green? Wait, why is that green? that's wait. Why are you green and then you're orange? What? Who are you? Add a steering wheel? You know they don't have steering wheels on trains, right? Or do they? No, they don't. I don't think they do. They literally do not. How was that? Golden, thank you for becoming a member. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Or staying a member. I didn't read that right. Tay, how's the development going? It's getting there, slowly but surely. Golden, how are you? One of those camera rear views. It's a train. If it's a rear view mirror, it'd have to be like a screen, like showing maybe the back of the train or something. We could do like a security camera that's like rendering the back of the train. Like that could be kind of cool. That could be sick. And stuff like spikes in the front to destroy obstacles in front of the train. We don't really have stuff like that in the game. I don't know if I will do stuff like that in the game, but we'll see. Will the windshield have some cool textured glass with like scratches? Most likely yes. Right now it's just a basic ass glass, but we'll definitely have some like roughness values on it and stuff like that. Right now it's too clean. Did I model all of the assets? Not all of them, no. Nope. Windshield wipers? That's so fucking funny, dude. How would you have windshield wipers with this big of a fucking thing? Like, how would you, I guess it would just be one small area of the train would be right here where there's a windshield wiper. Oh my God. I like the idea of the cameras. The cameras are kind of a cool idea, but I feel like we need a whole computer for that. Or we could just use our, we could use our monitor for that. The computer monitor. But I do want some sort of like interaction, because like if we do one security camera, we might as well have multiple like cameras around, right? You could also have a handheld camera players could carry for some reason. That'll be their body cam. their body cam. Yeah, I made the monitor too big. We got to make it smaller. This shit doesn't fit in here. What the hell? I kind of like it being lopsided. I kind of fuck with that. You have body cams planned? No, probably not. Having snow on the rails that sometimes the train has to run through, shaking the player out of balance for 1 second or something. We could do stuff like that for sure. We had the idea where sometimes dangerous terrain comes in and you gotta like slow down the train, and that could be where the mechanics come in for the speed lever or whatever. My only problem right now though is I think we're making too much focus on micromanaging the train, unless we make that just part of the gameplay. But then like, yeah, we make it so then you have to like really keep track of the train at the front, which is okay. Like that's not an issue. We can, you know, we can work with that. Shit's all kind of rotated. It's like they put this security system like really late. Please tell me the screen for this is a different material. I don't think it is, though. Oh! Youch! We're gonna have to make a second monitor. Like a different monitor system. Yeah, we almost make it so you have to have a player at the cockpit, which I don't know if it's a really good idea. Have we had a playtest yet? Not yet. Not like a proper gameplay playtest. We've had some technical testing, but yeah. Yeah, no proper playtesting yet. Which is obviously alarming, as many could expect, but we'll work towards it. Yeah, I like that. It's kind of like just placed haphazardly. I think waiting till a gameplay loop is more in place is smart. Yeah, most of the testing we've been doing is like making sure mechanics are working in multiplayer and that sort of stuff. Yeah, we'll do the security camera at a different time. I like having a little monitor here, though. I like having a little monitor there. It's kind of nice. Nice little vibe. I'm gonna add a chair by the windshield. If I had a chair, we gotta make it so you can like actually sit on the chair. Or like move it around. It's gotta become like a physics object. Which I'm a little concerned about. But we can. Just the problem is now it needs to be a rolling physics object that can roll around. How do we make it so it can slide around? Then we gotta add a fucking... smooth sync. Let me see if I remember how to... make it slide around. There is a way of making it slide around. There is a way. There is a way. I don't remember what is the way, but there is a way. It would have to be in the physics section. Here, Belly. Do I have any good resources used to use multiplayer with blueprints? There's that multiplayer compendium, but a lot of it right now, a lot of my learning is by, for the most part, just kind of going in and just trying, you know, just trying it out, messing with it. But watching that, or reading that, and then a few other resources about replication, that's really it. The rest is kind of just experimentation. I think if we set a material to this that has a different physics type, with like no friction, it would work. But let's just throw that in there, whatever. Whatever, close enough, man. Wait. Yeah, whatever. This shit's crazy. All right, fine. There. It doesn't have any sound effects. That's fine. We don't need any sound effects right now. It's just a chair. Security cameras, cool idea. We're definitely gonna do that. Definitely gonna do that. I think that'll look very cool. I think it's gonna be different from these cameras. These are gonna be like the boss man cameras, so you don't get access to these. We're gonna have different cameras, or the actual in-world cameras, if we end up doing that. Which I think we could do that. I think we'll just make it so it has a really low frame rate and really low resolution, and then that way it doesn't eat too much when we do the whole render target stuff. And I think that'll be okay. I think we'll do a similar interface for this as well, where you can like click on arrows to change the camera angle. I think that'll look kind of cool. One big worry I have is very small buttons. But if anything, I think that'll look okay. They don't have to be really small buttons either. If anything, maybe you just have to click on the edge of the screen and then that flips through the cameras. Yeah. Having walkie-talkie sound effects when using voice call would be cool. Voice chat. That will be on the actual walkie-talkies, because we'll probably have actual walkie-talkies to talk on the walkie-talkies. We'll just have to figure out how that works. It's going to be a bit of a challenging thing to do. I feel like I'm meant to hear the sounds of the chair spinning around and shit. And I feel like we need a button where you hit E on the chair and then you could sit in the chair. You know what I mean? I feel like this isn't right. We need to be able to sit in the chair. Needs more inertia? The thing is, I think we can only do that through a physics material. I think we can only do that through a physics material. Is the game going to be endless or like Among Us or something? Right now, the idea is that you have to complete a shift. If we change it so we change the quota system, it could technically be endless. I think Lethal Company and Repo are endless, right? It just gets harder and harder and harder. I do like the idea of completing a run, though. Like, I like how Peak has an end point, and then that end point unlocks the next difficulty. I think that would be the only way we could do the whole difficulty thing. Is the inertia for movement or rotation? Because here it says it's just, it'll be harder to rotate, but that sounds like it's just for rotation. Not necessarily for, you know what I mean? We could lower the linear dampening by 10%, or turn it 10% of what it was. Now it rolls a little bit more. The only problem now is we can bring it down here, which I probably don't want to. Big fan of games with a goal to reach, things being endless. I don't know, at some point you don't feel like such an achievement getting very high because it's never enough. Yeah, I think if there were an endless mode, it would be a different mode. I think the main game should have an end point. And that end point is like, hey, your shift is over. You completed your shift. Kind of thing. So. And I feel like we need an end point if we want to make it so the player can keep unlocking difficulties. I guess there doesn't necessarily need to be an endpoint. We could make it so it's like, oh, there is an endpoint, but you can choose to continue. I know there's certain games that do that as well. That could always be an option of where we bring the design. How many chairs should we have here? I feel like one isn't enough, which is really stupid to say. I feel like we need 2 chairs. 4 chairs. I don't want to do too many physics actors for these because it is costly. Let's do 2. I feel like 2 is enough of a number. I just copy pasted the chair itself. 100 chairs. 400 cigarettes. Hello? Okay. I think 2 is fine, guys. We don't need more than that. Listen, you're not supposed to be sitting on the job. You're supposed to be working on the job. And the working on the job involves going around the train and doing chores, okay? Go and do your chores, all right? Jeez. Oh, right. The doors don't have any sort of collision with the items. We should probably fix that. Should probably put that on the board. Put that on the board. So I don't forget. Unless I already put that on the board. Did I put that on the board? Nope. Not on the board. It's now on the board. We need to be able to sit in the chair with a fire extinguisher. Yeah, I feel like we do need a mechanic where you can actually sit on the chair. It's not a real friend slop game if your friend can't sit in the chair and then you grab the chair and you throw him out the fucking window and now he's out. It's not a friend slop game if you can't take your friend who's sitting in the office chair and completely just oblivious to the fact that you've now dragged him out of the chair or dragged him out with the chair and threw him off the train. Graham, I got into deadlock for the last few months. And it's so addicting. Once I work on a 3D project, I'm planning on trying to replicate its art style or somewhat close to it. The art's so awesome. I like the art. It's awesome. It is very cool. I will say, as of late, it might just be my rank. Man, it's once you get to a certain rank, the players become. You're going to start. Let's just say you start muting players a lot more often for your own sanity. Let's just say you start muting players because some of them are absolutely awful to listen to. The most annoying motherfuckers in existence. I'm emissary and I've been running into more toxic players recently. I think it gets worse because people's ego gets worse and worse as it goes on. It's like, dude, oh my God. Vote to kick, not toxic mechanic at all. Luckily, there is no vote to kick in Deadlock. But it's a Valve game. And it really feels like one when you're in the voice chat. It really feels like one. Yep. Sometimes slurs just kind of get thrown out like it's nothing. Hey, candy! Woo! It's just such an interesting thing. Why is it? Well, it's not true. It's not just Valve games. I think it's just because Valve focuses on a lot of competitive games. And then because of that, a lot of the players can be a bit, let's just say, not good. I get called a rat or insert racism remark because I main Rem a lot. I used to play Rem a lot, but then I realized like my team can't win because they don't know how to fucking do anything. So playing a support isn't very helpful when I can't. What am I supposed to support? Like air? So I always go like Spirit Rem, but like that's not enough. Oh yeah. Wait, this turned purple? Huh? Why is it purple now? Oh shit, you can expand the checklist? What the hell? Oh shit, I didn't know you could do... It's not purple anymore. What, huh? Someone help me out here. It's not purple anymore. The best form of support is making sure the enemy is dead, so no healing needs done. Hey, I like that way of thinking. That's the right way of thinking. You could say the same for Riot, but instead of language, the mentality. Yeah, it's true. I think it's just any competitive game. And Valve just, you know, coincidentally just, for the most part, only makes games that are inherently competitive. Counter-Strike, competitive. Dota, competitive. Deadlock, competitive. I guess the only games that wouldn't be competitive are Portal and... Portal's like single player. I guess Portal 2's co-op. Yeah. Is TF2 considered competitive? Not as much as the other games, I would say. Yeah, Half-Life, but Half-Life isn't really competitive. Left 4 Dead is not really competitive, but there are competitive things. Their main games right now are like competitive games. Because TF2, I think they forgot TF2 even existed. I think they kind of forgot Team Fortress even existed. At the Valve headquarters, no one is in the corner for Team Fortress, except for like maybe that one guy who's like the only guy keeping it alive. Or trying to keep it alive. Do I like Trello more than Notion? I think they just serve different purposes. I think they just serve different purposes. Apparently only 10 devs work on CSGO now. Or CS2? Valve is a bit of a weird company. Valve is a bit of a weird company. That's crazy if true. Valve is a very small company in comparison to a lot of other AAA companies that, in my opinion, overhire a lot. They overhire a shit ton, which is why so many of them are doing mass layoffs right now. It's because they probably overhired during COVID, but now they're like firing more people than they originally had in pre-COVID times. But I would still say they overhired. Like, I think Valve is in a good position where they just hire people with a good amount of broad skills within game development. Do we ever hear about Valve layoffs, though? No, because they make a shit ton of money. They literally have one of the biggest PC platforms in existence. What the hell is this? I'd rather work for Valve than 80% game development companies. To be honest, I think if I had to magically, if something happened where I can't work on my own, you know, game dev studio / company anymore, like something happens where we're not bringing in any more income, maybe we took too long to release our games, or maybe none of them were doing so well, and I had to pivot going back to contract work or getting hired, I'm going to be honest, I think I'm just going to switch industry. I don't know. I don't know if I'd even want to work at Valve. Like, I think Valve would be the only company I could maybe see myself in. But at the same time, I also just think it's like, okay, I'd rather just maybe go somewhere else, do something different, maybe figure out something different. While still trying to make games, I think I would still try to make games. But I think we're in a safe position as a company where I think we're okay. What the hell's going on with this music? I'm gonna go fucking crazy. Valve hits the same level of mysterious as Rockstar. You can compare Half-Life 3, GTA 6, and you see the similarities. I don't know. I would not want to work at Rockstar. Not a fucking chance. How about we work on something? Yeah, true. You on to something. So now briefcases can spawn in. I think that was a task to make it so briefcases could spawn in. Guys, it's not a task. Whatever. Whatever, man. I don't even care. Yeah, I'd rather not work at Rockstar. Hell no. Special continues preparing the speed of the train temporarily moves so something can be reused across all items. Right, we need to rename this. We need to rename this task. Let me do that. Special coal needs a parameter to make fuel efficiency better temporarily. There you go. Today I learned that I know nothing about game dev. This is $500,000 in profit. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Well, you got to remember, the game is $3 Canadian. It's also got bundles. There's bundles. There's a card game associated as well. Interesting. I think can I be real with some of you guys? Can I be real with some of you guys? Do you mind if I do you mind if I be real with some of you guys? All right. You can mute if you don't want to hear any of this. Only with some of us? Okay, the rest of you can mute if you want to. Here's what I gotta tell you guys. Some of you guys expect or think that success is this specific template / form for video games, when in reality, it's really not. You can make something fun and simple and chill like that, where it's just ducks floating in water and have a vibe to it, and that can do well. It doesn't need to be this grandiose thing. And also, your expectation of what should make a game successful might not be the actual reality of what makes a game potentially successful. Because you're putting too much of your personal attachment to it rather than looking at it from, okay, how did this do so well? Anyways, that's it. Not much substance there, actually, now that I think about it. How did this already break? What the fuck? Basically, what I'm trying to say is, expand your horizons. If a game did success, if a game you think looks like dog shit, but then it ends up being really good, okay, figure out what it is that drew people to it. Just because your personal expectations of a game doesn't align with the game, you can still figure out what made it do so well, or at least make your, you know, make some conclusion to it. Might not be fully accurate, because at the end of the day, success is not something you can. Sometimes it's just a feeling, something that just happens, not necessarily something that you can sometimes equate a feeling to. I watched a video that I think worded it perfectly. It was talking about how, like, rich billionaires sometimes are, like, they go on these fucking stupid talk shows where they try to, like, come up with excuses for how they got rich, but in reality, it's, like, none of, like, that's just them coming up with excuses after the fact. And then them coming up with, like, reasoning for it, but, like, the reasoning is, like, not actually the reasoning for it. You know what I mean? It's so interesting, because I feel like making a successful game is kind of in a similar nature. Placid Duck Game is also made for Twitch to throw on in the background while you talk to chat, so viewers want to play it. And it's cheap, you know? It's like money you can kind of throw away, and then you just chill there. You're just chilling out, you know? Ducks and shit, you know what I mean? Yeah. If I can't complete an MMO extraction shooter horror game with a trading card game component, then I want nothing to do with game development. I'm of the firm belief that if you make something you think is fun, other people will come to that degree. I also think fun is gonna sound weird. Fun is a overused terminology when it comes to games. There are better ways of wording your game from an emotional standpoint that then result towards fun, or enjoyment is a better word, I would say. When you think of Tarkov, do you think of fun? No, it's fun, but in a different way. I think of it more as frustrating, rewarding. I think of it as thrilling. But I don't know if I'd call it fun. I think it's fun in the sense that, like, horror games can be fun. I don't know. Fun is just too much of a... It's too basic of a word. That's just very commonly used in YouTube fucking spaces now. It's such an overused term. If your game isn't fun, it's not. What's the point? What? I don't think fun is a good word necessarily. Like, yes, I think friendslop games do come down to fun to some extent, but I think there has to be better words to describe games. I think any game could be successful as long as you can execute it well. I agree. And also, success comes in different forms. Many people will see success in different ways. I'd say Suit for Hire, even if it didn't get the financial success it had during 1.0, I would still say it was successful because I learned a lot of things working on it. So to me, it was a personal success. It all depends on the reward. If the game has a reward that people like, that ends up being fun. Yeah. I just think the term fun is overused in the game development space. I think gamers use the term fun. That's fine. There's no wrong or right feeling, right? But I think there needs to be better ways of describing your game, and that'll help you kind of determine what you need to do to kind of reach those points. For this game, I would say it's thrill would be a big one. Comedy is definitely a big one as well. It being a friendslop game is a pretty common thing. There's some elements of comedy, and I also would think horror has some elements of comedy as well, if you think about it. You have a moment where you get fucking terrified or a jump scare, but then the relief after the fact, you kind of like laugh it off sometimes. Someone asked something earlier. Can we consult you somewhere like Discord for a game idea we're working on? You can DM me, but I'm not like a professional. Guys, I'll be real. I don't think I'm a professional by any means. Just because I had one game that did semi-well, and I can probably point to specific reasons as to why it did well. I wouldn't say I'm by any means pro. Hehe, John Wick. Yeah, literally. Hehe, John Wick. I feel like it's dependent on the individuals. Tarkov is fun for the adrenaline of making or breaking a run to a massive payday. Team Fortress 2, the comical and wacky gunfights that are entertaining. Yeah. Some people find the fun through PvP. Some people find the fun through extracting with a full bag of stuff. But I think it comes down to more thrill and that risk and reward feeling that I think is crucial to a game like that, where it's like at any moment in time you could lose all of that you just worked towards. Bring Ronin back? Fun can also be whittled out by the type of players playing the game itself. I found early WoW fun, but I couldn't go back to it now. People removed all the fun of how that game is played, especially late stage. I think there is one feeling in video games that has been lost. And only certain games, I think, have been able to re-spark that. And there's a reason why. There's a reason why games in the first month are like at its peak. And that's suspense. Suspense has fucking died. Because back in the day, the only way you really learned about games was through, like, books. Or maybe the occasional, like, fucking, like, X-Fire conversation with a player and being like, oh shit, you could do that? Now it's like you look up on the internet how to a guide on how to play the game, or you watch a full playthrough or whatever of literally anything. Suspense is dead. I think the only game that really kind of brought that back a little bit was like Blueprints. And like for example, like Arc Raiders. The first month was peak because nobody really knew the game very well, or they were kind of like learning it. I think video games have become... There's like a whole business now to like optimize the fun or the suspense out of video games. And it is so shit. It's so fucking shit. And I feel like people kind of ruin themselves by looking up guides for things. Because then they've just ruined the suspense, the process of learning elements in a game. I will say that part sucks. Suspense is such a great tool in video games, but I feel like it's just constantly killed. By content creators, by... The players themselves are kind of doing it to themselves without them even knowing it, where they'll watch a video about certain things. And nowadays it's like not... Top 10 loot items and where to get them in Arc Raiders. Yeah, exactly. Like, ugh. God. You know what I'm starting to think? I think we need a way to hide here in the cockpit. We have the lockers, which you can hide in at the very back of the train. But there's no way of hiding at the front of the train. If you play Myst, you should just disconnect the internet. Yes! But the thing is, so many players don't do that these days with, like, the newest games. They gotta watch, like, 13 videos before they play the fucking game. Under the desk. Shit, we should make it so you can crawl under the desk, huh? I was thinking, like, a little vent. You can, like, open it up and then crawl in. Point and click games have this problem. People look up everything, or they seen the solution on a stream. Like I said, it's dead. Suspense is such a great tool that I think gets killed off. And I want this game to have so much suspense, but I know that will probably also be killed off because people are just going to make YouTube videos showing the little secrets and stuff that are in the game. I think it'll still be good. Don't get me wrong. I think adding those elements is still good in a game, but yeah. All the millions of dollars used on voice actors for Invisible does not make up for the cost of quality of animation. I just can't watch it no matter how many Walter Goggins you put in your show. Blueprints did very good suspense-wise. They did very well, don't get me wrong. It's one of the few games, but I'm sure once you watch a full playthrough of it... Now, that is, at the end of the day, your own fault, but a lot of people just do that to themselves. A lot of what ends up happening... I think here's what the thing is. A lot of gamers self-sabotage their own experience of playing a game. I think that's the problem. They self-sabotage themselves. Without them even knowing that they've sabotaged themselves. Tasaka, how's it going? Hello, fellow big nose. Hello, it is I. Another thing about walkthroughs is that people all end up with the same save game with a string of perfect decisions, but that's not what would happen dynamically. Yeah. All right. Let's get to work, shall we? Should probably fix that error. Ah, who am I kidding? Which is why I would low-key... Which is why I low-key would understand why the Fez indie dev would take down people's content so people can experience it themselves. Not that I would do the same. Yeah. I don't know if I would do that. What? What did I say? I'm not sure if I would do that. I think that just creates a new issue. It just reminds me of the ending of Getting Over It. The ending of Getting Over It, if I remember correctly, wasn't there a warning on the screen that said, hey, please don't share this with anybody on release? They're like, don't show this to anybody. And then some dumbass fucking streamer, I want to say it was XQC, literally showed it on stream, like in the first week. It's so... God, man. I think it was like it was a live chat with the developer. Like that was the thing. It was like the ending was you could chat with the developer. Sounds on brand for XQC. I don't know, man. It's the simplest request. Please don't show this on your stream. But I guess you gotta get those fucking views, right? You gotta get those views. So even if you were to put things in your game to be like, to content creators to be like, don't show this. Please keep it secret. they're still going to do it. In fact, by putting that warning, in fact, I think more of them will do it. More people will do it. Don't show this is like rage bait to show it. Yeah. It's the whole concept of like, you tell someone not to do something and there's a higher likelihood that they will end up doing it. Couldn't you use that against them to make sure they do show what you want them to? Yes, you could do a little bit of reverse psychology. Yeah, you could do a little bit of reverse psychology. But I feel like the getting over it developer was being genuine with the whole concept of like, don't show this to anybody kind of thing. But, you know, whatever. It presumes streamers are decent humans. My theory is that the streamers that are dipshits just have not grown out of their high school era. And also something to consider is a lot of them are actually younger than me, which is fucking crazy. Well, actually, it's not crazy, but it's just, you know. A lot of them are younger than me. And I'm 28. Like, I just recently learned, I think Super TF is younger than me. I think he's like 25 or something. I think. Yeah, I'm turning into a grandpa. I don't know if it's weird, but the games I play and the games I watch are never the same. It's a good thing for you, at least, Cheetah, because then when you play your games, you're playing them at its rawest form. I bet you there's gonna be so many people that are gonna watch a full GTA 6 playthrough and then they're gonna play it themselves, and the magic is gone. The magic is gone. You're gonna watch the whole story playthrough, but then you're gonna go ahead and try to. It's because, well, I just didn't have the money at the time, so I just watched a full playthrough instead to experience the game. Well, no. What do you do? What are you doing? I turned 30, very old. Congratulations. Now you are gambling every day you wake up. Every day you wake up, you're gambling because you might wake up with like pains. You're gonna get spoiled anyway. I feel like for games like that, if you're really like gonna buy it and want to play it, you gotta turn off the internet. Which really, dude, okay, that also brings me down to shows. When a show releases the entire series all at once, like on Netflix, when they release the entire series, I'm gonna be honest, I actually kind of fucking hate that. Like, it forces you to binge watch the entire thing because some dumbass jackass is gonna spoil shit for you because they also watch the entire thing. So now you feel like you have to watch the entire thing so you don't get spoiled. I kind of like when shows... It sucks having to wait 1 week to watch something, but I understand the value. Also, it's to make it so that you stay subscribed to their fucking network. But, like... the guy that posts the spoiler 10 seconds after it airs. Do you think there's some jackass out there that actually just clicks on the last episode and then just spoils it instantly on the internet? There probably is some fucking despicable human beings that do that, huh? Speaking of TV shows, why did they do that whole thing in this season of blah 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 and they show 100 spoilers? Hey, here's a trail. Yeah, you gotta like stop watching trailers for things now too, because like even the creators themselves market their shit in a really piss poor way sometimes. Not a GTA fan, so I'm not super excited for it, and I don't have a console, and I don't know if I want to miss the launch reactions, etc., just because there's a chance I'll play it day one when it comes to PC. Don't get me wrong, I'm going to watch gameplay on GTA 6, but I'm not going to buy GTA 6. Fuck Rockstar. They do this shit every single time. Oh, we're releasing on consoles first, and then 2 years later we'll release on PC. Why? Oh, because money. Yeah, fuck you. Oh my god. It's to make you buy the game twice. They know what they're doing, and it worked with GTA 5. It fucking worked. You think they're not going to do that shit again? They will do that shit again. Yeah, I'm definitely not going to buy GTA. I have a fanboy friend that buys the console just for the GTA 6. You know, people can do as they wish with their money. Do I agree with it? No. What are the chances that they're like taking into their life savings to do that? Very high. Or maybe even putting it on their credit card and then not able to pay it off. Pretty high. There's a potential high chance of that happening. I am a rat. They milked the fuck out of GTA 5? Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Casual animal abuse? Listen, they're rodents. What do you want from me? They're chewing the wires and shit. And shitting. You could just refund the console after you finish the game. Oh my god, that's a great idea. Just return the console. Too far how a console release in 1 year? I would like to release on console. I technically already have a lot of the infrastructure. I just have to port it for Xbox, but I feel like it would be really weird just releasing the console release just for Xbox. It'll work, man. Looked nothing like this since I was last year. We still don't have too much video game. There's still quite a bit to do. Have I gotten the game to run on Xbox? No, I actually got a couple of the dev kits, and I still haven't unpacked them. They're still in their boxes. I will admit. Yeah, I got 2 of them. Did I pay for those dev kits? Or does Microsoft send them out for free? I don't know if I can really give out those details. Because it's probably an NDA for those specific details. But I'm sure you could search it up. I'm sure online, on Google, probably details of that. I want to play this game. There's not much game yet. There's still many little things, I think. I'm a little worried that we have to put this much detail in a friendslop game, but I'm also just kind of I'm just naturally letting things ride, you know? I'm not gonna be like, oh shit, we need to have the prototype. Oh shit, this needs to be this way, you know what I mean? I'm just kind of putting things, making sure it's staying in line with the type of game it's trying to be. That's the biggest thing, making sure it stays in line. On brand, on theme. Making multiple weapons on a 2D game, do you think 3 sprites for each weapon category is fine? Example, pistol rifles have unique muzzle flashes that are tied to each weapon type. I don't know, I think it really depends on your game and how it looks overall. The id Xbox program? That's how I went through it, yes. It's actually very straightforward. Now I just gotta figure out what the Sony process is. Which, as far as I know, you need a static IP for. Not fun. Not fun. That one, as far as I know, you need a static IP. No wonder PS5 has no games. What's a static IP? What's the best way of describing it? Your computer's IP changes. A static IP means it will no longer, like it, I guess it's completely always tied to that one IP address. Right? Listen, I'm not a networking kind of guy, so I don't really know. Any smart people in chat? Can I melt the chair? Nintendo's probably hell. I think the hardest one is just Sony, I'm pretty sure. Making a horror game using lobsters as a fuel source. All I can think of is putting lobsters in that furnace. Lobster 1, Lobster 2. You know, I've actually never had... Is it lobster that's like a really rich, like a rich person food? Is it lobster? I think it is lobster. I've never had like lobster... Like eating lobster... Like I'm sure I've had lobster in like sushi, but never had like lobster... as like a meal, you know what I mean? Like a lobster and then you just cut it in, break off the legs and stuff yourself. Never had that before. We had most issues with Xbox when we ported at work. Really? Was it like... Interesting. I know they have a pretty extensive review process, so I'm assuming that's where you had the issues. I've never had lobsters, so when we release, we're gonna go have some. Hey, hell yeah. Release celebration. Eating lobster for the first time. Mostly shader issues, and they're the most strict on the build. Very nitpicky. Interesting. Moon, how did you go about doing Xbox port? Did you duplicate the project, or can you just like do all of that within the same project? I guess you'd have to do some very fancy export stuff, where it's like, when you export for a PC build, you completely rip out the Xbox stuff. I don't know what the process is going to be like that for that. I fixed some issues with some shaders, but the lead programmer did most of it. Interesting. I guess maybe I'd have to make a separate project. I'm hoping I can find a way of doing it without a separate project. Making my first person puzzle game with mouse and keyboard in mind, I think making controller gameplay would be iffy. I would highly recommend trying to make your game work with controller when you can, especially if you're releasing on Steam, because there are certain players that will literally negative review your game if you don't have controller support. Or they will not buy it outright if there's no controller support. We don't have controller support here because I'm lazy and I haven't hooked up my Xbox controller yet. But when I do, I will make this game work on controller. All right, let's do some work. We haven't done any work in a little hot minute. It's been a hot minute. Yeah, also Steam Deck is a good one too. You can get a good amount of sales with players that play on Steam Deck. You also get Steam Deck verified, which is a nice little little badge on your store page. Verified. 2 hours into the stream, let's do some work. We've been doing work across the stream, just, you know, here and there, and here and there, and there and there, and here and there. What are we listening to? Can anybody explain? Someone explain, what the hell? Industrial techno mix. No, I kind of want something chill. Something chill. Here, let's do this. Can you explain this game really quickly? You and your friends are employees on a mysterious monster train, and you have to keep the train running. And that's really the core of the pitch. Keep the train running by feeding the engine and repairing parts of the train. You see that Subnautica 2 comes out in 2 weeks? I did not. I didn't know it was that soon. I did not know it was that soon. Oh, an early access. Okay. Dude, I hope they... What was the... I guess nobody knows what the revenue target is to get the $100 million bonus, right? From that shitty fucking company. Nah. Subnautica 2 doesn't look good? What do you mean? Why does it not look good? $250 million bonus? What? I thought it was 100 million bonus. Krafton isn't the publisher anymore on Steam either. But I assume that bonus is still in play because the legality, the whole legal thing that happened, right? Unironically, I'll probably just buy the game just to help them get across that line. I will probably buy the game just to get them across the line so they can get that bonus. It's like if you were to do a squeeze. You know, like the whole GameStop thing that happened, the GameStop stock? It's me participating in trying to screw over that company. Oh, shit. What a dumbass CEO. Oh my god. Was it the CEO? It was the CEO, right? Not a CFO or anything like that? I think it was literally just the CEO. Probably the whole C-suite was probably in on it to some extent. Of Krafton. Where am I? We should get some work done. Stop clicking the play button. They wanted a millions payout even if the game makes no profit. That's on the CEO for offering that as a bonus system. That's not on the developers, in my opinion. I'm sure they negotiated to some extent, but that's on at the end of the day, that's on the company. And then the company tried to rat him out by asking an LLM how they can fuck over the developers, such as, yeah, they basically tried to. The C-suite or the CEO of Krafton basically just tried to sabotage their ability of even being able to get the bonus. At the end of the day, is that the developer's fault? No, I think that's the publisher's fault, in my opinion. Even if the developers maybe were working slow or whatever the terms are, that's on the CEO for fucking up and putting that big of a fucking number. How do you fuck up as a CEO, honestly, in this day and age when you have a shit ton of money? How do you fuck up that hard? You have one job. It's not that hard. You just copy what the other CEOs are doing. That's what they're doing these days. Do I have any tips on marketing a game? I don't really have any tips for marketing a game. I would say the biggest thing I would say is just share your game. Don't look at it as marketing. Put it as you sharing your game to people that would want to play your game. And you're trying to allow those people find your game. I think that's how I would look at it. And that just means just share it. Just get your game shared out there. Share it in YouTube Shorts, TikTok, share it on Twitter, you know. Share the cool moments of your games. Share some little development snippets. Just don't be scared to share it. Did Suitfire fund this next game you're doing, or you just still need freelance? Suitfire fortunately did very well in the 1.0 that I am now able to go full-time for probably the next few years, as long as I don't make any stupid decisions. Or, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, so pretty cool. Pretty cool, pretty cool. Also learning how to do investing, because now I'm learning a lot about finances in the world, such as inflation. Inflation actually is scary. And so you're kind of forced to learn investing, because otherwise your money kind of just slowly dies. I gotta say, trying to learn investing on the internet, or trying to gain some financial literacy, pretty ass, because there's so many like content creator financial gurus out there that like you don't know what's like good information or bad information. Yeah. Okay, turn off all the maintenance tasks when docking at a station. We do have to do that. So we technically do that. However, when we reset, I think the actual actors themselves don't get reset. When did I make enough money with Suitfire that you knew you could go full-time for a period of time? The first week of 1.0 release. Probably. Yeah, within the first week. For us fairly normal people, buying a house or apartment is the best investment we can do in the beginning. Houses here in Ontario are like minimum $1 million. Like, yeah, you could buy a house that's like, you can maybe find one for like 700,000, but then you're probably getting stuck into a mortgage that's like 5% interest, which is not great. How many wish lists do I have in a release? Early access release, I think we had like 4,000. 1.0 release, I think we had around 30 to 40,000. And now we currently have like 180,000 wish lists. You were not full-time before Suitfire 1.0? No, I had to do contract work here and there to make ends meet. Investing is more simple than the internet make it sound. Yeah, honestly, I'm just kind of just putting it into index funds. Just doing like slowly trickling money into index funds. And then I also have segregated funds that I'm just leaving in there for like retirement or whatever. What's the Steam split when you sell a copy of a game? 70-30? For 1 million for a house, are we talking a crappy normal house? Yeah, like a pretty shitty made out of paper house. Because here in Ontario, things are just made with fucking paper. Yeah, I think honestly just funneling money slowly into like S&P 500 is probably the way to go. I started doing that. Like every week I put a bit of money in, and then I don't know. I'm not going to do anything crazy like day trading. I think that's just too much. That's too stressful. I don't think I would do anything like day trading or anything like that. I can't get into that. Nah, I just want to make games, man. I just want to make games. Is that so hard to understand? You still get some passive income from Super Fire. It's still selling. Not as much as like obviously like the first few weeks or first few, you know, months. It's slowed down obviously, but whenever we have sales, it kind of spikes up a little bit. You should look at an IRA next since you're self-employed. An IRA? What is an IRA? The Irish Republican Army. Ah, yes. Yes. Individual retirement account. We have different things here in Canada. Here in Canada, we have a tax-free savings account and a retirement savings plan. Yeah, I've definitely already invested in both of those. When you're talking about sharing your game on the internet, what did you mean? Give previews of what you're making or trying to collect feedback to make the game better? Just instead of calling it marketing, look at it as you sharing your game. Because some people, I feel like, get really icky when it comes to the term marketing. So I mean, just look at it in a different sense. Like you're sharing your game with people that would be interested in your game. Because at the end of the day, if you're making a good game, there are people out there that want to play your game, right? The thing is, they just don't know it exists. So it's about sharing your game to those people so they know it exists, so they can have a fun time with it. But yeah, I have my RSP, the retirement savings plan. I have my TFSA. I've actually just recently opened a cash account, which kind of sucks because then obviously there's the capital gains tax and whatever, but that allows me to put more money in there and whatnot. You think you'll ever have to pay the 5% of whatever cut to Epic/UE for Super Hire? I can't indulge in that subject. I can't indulge in that subject. No, to be completely transparent with you guys, I'm already paying the 5%. But I deduct all those costs, basically, as software royalty costs. Hardest part for me is finding people that want to play it. I think it's just about sharing it, and then the people will find you. Yeah. I think it is definitely a challenge trying to find people that to test it that would actually be interested in your type of game. That can be a challenge, but I think just get some video footage out there, right? Video footage with gameplay, and people will become interested and whatnot. That's why I always tell people to ignore Twitch chats or YouTube comment sections in like IGN videos and stuff. IGN and all these platforms, they're very, very generalized places, and the people that would be interested in your game are not going to be everybody in those channels. You're going to have people that call things dog shit or whatever. That's because they're GTA players and they don't play anything else. Or they play very specific types of games, right? You can't look at comment sections for those kind of games, because most of the times the people that do get interested in the games, they're not going to write a comment. They're just going to go to the store page and determine if they actually want to buy it from there. That's what I found out. That's what I found out. That, and also, to be fair, Suit for Hire isn't the most visually appealing game. A lot of people kind of let their eyeballs speak rather than, you know, other things. But yeah, Suit for Hire isn't the prettiest looking game visually. But if anything, that goes to show that visuals are not necessarily a proponent of success. Sure, it helps. I think art direction helps more than super realistic visuals. Art direction in Suit for Hire is very little lackluster. But yeah. We have a couple things we need to model for this. You know what? I think my problem right now is I'm hungry. So I might grab a quick snack. What can I eat? Yeah, I might get like a quick little snack or something because I'm getting pretty hungry. I ain't gonna lie. Cooking stream? Would I model a bike? Have I ever modeled a bike? I might have modeled a bike in the past. I might have. At some point. Somewhere. All right, I'll be right back. I'll see you guys in a second. I'll be right back. Let me quickly get like a snack or something. I'm gonna figure out what I can quickly stuff in my mouth. All right. Wait, why are the object responses for world static and world dynamic sets of false? I think the item is, it's a physics body. But it does not block interactable. What if we set interactable to block for the items? What happens? Well, we'll find out if I broke the game at all. I like the chairs. It kind of fills in the space a little bit. I do fuck with it. We might have to turn off cast shadows on them, though, I will say. Does this cast shadows? I think it is casting shadows. Fuel. Okay. Well, I guess that we fixed that issue. Or I think we did. Unless we caused a bug. Which is highly probable. Okay, someone remind me to fix that. Frisbee. Oh, there's a briefcase. We're gonna bring this with us. Loot box. I got a loot box. Yeah, coffee. Speaking of which, I should go turn on the coffee machine. Hell yeah. Coffee too? Like, look how much shit we just melted, and it's still not complete. I think there's some values that we haven't set on some of the items. Just pulled out a baked chicken out of the oven. We eating good tonight? What the hell? What'd you season that chicken with? What'd you put in there? I just heard some footsteps. What the hell was that? You guys hear that? The werewolf is stuck in the container. He literally can't do anything. What an idiot. Bacon wrapped chicken? Holy moly. Holy moly. Please turn around. Please turn around. Oh, you know what? Thank you. We need to stop him from spawning in the container. He literally gets stuck. Wow. Sorry, I need that. We need a way to fight back. Kind of fight back. Right now, the monsters 100% always know where we are. Which is not cool. While I'm here, fix that real quick. Okay, cool, nice. What the hell? Only if you had a game with guns to pull gun models from? No, I think I'd make new gun models for this game. It wouldn't, those kind of gun models I feel like would not work well in this type of game. I feel like they gotta be like goofy looking guns, you know what I mean? And I feel like a gun should be kind of like a rare item. It shouldn't really appear often. Hold on. I'm gonna have a bite out of my snack. All right. Not an American game. No, it's Canadian, actually. I kind of really want to... I know it's really useless. But I really want to put the little... I want to put the mechanic in. Where we can see the security camera. I kind of want to see the security camera. I have an idea. I need to find the model where that is. I don't know where I put that screen model. Where is the CRT? Please tell me I made a separate Blender file for it. Electricals? Oh, here we go. Here we go, 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 here we go. I'm gonna make a separate UV map for this. UV map 2. Okay, here's what we can do. We take all the UVs from everything and scale them down into a single pixel down in the corner. But then this right here, we will scale up. This will be the actual, like, screen. All right. And then everything else will not be impacted. Okay. I want to say we used, yeah, okay, so I can just export. And then I should be able to just re-import that screen. And we should have UV2. There we go, UV2. That does mean that it just ate the light map. That's okay, I don't think this... I think it kind of does need a light map now that I think about it. Because we have it in a certain level. Okay. There. Where is the light map index? Light map coordinate index 2. All right. The light map is doing some weird stuff for some reason. We'll ignore that for now. This is a weird looking light map. What the hell is going on with this shit? Something is awry. All right. Then in the CRT, we're going to make a new material. We'll duplicate this one. CRT monitor dash security cams. So it'll be like a different version with the security cameras associated. Now, we have to create, let's make a folder in here, in core. Actually, no, I'll make this, yeah, it should be in core. New folder. Security cams. Oh, that's what it does. It shows it in a new content browser. Wait, that's kind of sick. I could see that being quite handy, actually. I just noticed that. Then in here we need a render target, which I think is in miscellaneous. Render target underscore security cams. Okay, 256 by 256 I feel like is good. We could even probably make it smaller. Then the next thing is we'll make a blueprint in here called BP underscore security cam render target. This is going to be a how do we do this again? Actually, I think there's a different... There might be a different blueprint for that, actually, now that I think about it. Which component was it? For the render target. Oh, scene capture. That's what it was. Good call. Good call. Good comms. Good comms. Now I need to feed the texture, which is security cams. We are going to render this every second. Don't capture every frame. Don't capture on movement. Anti-aliasing, not necessary. Fog, sure. We'll keep some of this stuff for now. Bloom, probably not. Eye adaptation, probably not. Local exposure. Ambient occlusion, we could probably turn off. Dynamic shadows, we could probably turn off. Well, yeah. Let's see what happens first. Ignore screen percentage. When rendering with main view resolution, ignore screen percentage scale and render at full resolution. How long have I used Blender? Probably like 14 years now. Wait, where's the capture rate? Am I crazy in saying that I don't see where the capture rate is? Guys? Guys, I don't see it. I know we turned off capture every frame. Oh, I think, do we have to manually capture? I swear there used to be a setting in here to set the capture rate. You have to capture manually. Balls! Okay, so what we'll do... This I probably wouldn't want to put on the train because it's going to move around, but fuck it. I need an arrow on this. I can't see it. Wait, hold on. I think I have to capture... Okay, now I can see it. There is a lot of noise. It's not capturing the train. Look. What the hell? See, even this is eating up 17 megabytes, which is crazy. Oh no, scene capture is 17 megabytes, resource size 128 kilobytes. Yeah. I don't know why it's not capturing the train. Oh, there we go. I think it was the type of scene color that we did. It was doing some weird stuff. Okay, so the scene capture is 17 megabytes. Mm-hmm. There's probably a lot of settings we can maybe adjust in here, for sure. Let's just leave it as is for now. Let's turn off capture every frame and to capture on movement. And let's do always persist rendering state. Okay, so now we should have some sort of angle that I think is okay. It looks kind of cool. I think we should also maybe like make it really bright. Yeah, I was thinking of increasing the FOV a little bit as well. We'll potentially do that. We'll do like 110. I think could be kind of interesting. So now the next step is setting up the material. So we're going to do a texture sample. We'll do texture this, and then we need to make sure it goes into UV1. And then we'll put it on the emissive. It's kind of important that we maybe give this a, because this UV is a pixel in the corner, we probably want to give this texture some like black bars or something. And I can't really think of how we go about doing that. I guess look at just another texture. Otherwise, there is a chance that the entire thing becomes emissive, which is not very good. One could imagine, not very good. Yeah, you can kind of see a little bit of everything is getting that. We could, actually... Why is the entire thing transparent? What? I was thinking... Here, let's just do this. I think I have a square in here. See right here. This should work just fine. It might be a little bit thicker than I like, but that's okay. Still kind of doing... I actually can't tell. Hold on. Mask the square texture with a texture sample. I could also use a vertex color. For 3D assets, what are the best practices to modeling assets for game development? That's a big subject. Best practices to modeling assets for game development. Don't have n-gons. Try to keep the topology clean. Don't add edges where you don't need to. Disagree with n-gons here, speaking from industry experience. I think you can work with n-gons if you're doing a high poly, but the reality of it is, if you have an n-gon, it's gonna the engine will triangulate it in a way that you might not want it. So honestly, just triangulate it, or a quad, make it quads. I use a shit ton of n-gons in high polys. N-gons are fine surfaces that won't deform in any way. At the end of the day, the engine is still going to turn it into triangles. And it might turn it, it might do some smoothing that you don't want it to. But generally speaking, for a beginner who doesn't know what they're doing, I would say just avoid the n-gons, because someone might not know what implications might occur. I use a shit ton of n-gons and high polys and stuff. But when it comes to a low poly, I'll just fucking connect shit and whatever. Just so nothing weird fucking happens. I'm not one of those people that are like, oh, the topology and the high poly needs to be like this. It's like, nah, man, if it looks fine, it looks fine. If there's nothing fucking going on, it's fine. If it bakes fine, it bakes fine. But generally, I think it's a good advice to just avoid it. Especially when starting out. In high polys, doesn't matter. Unless the shading looks wrong. If the shading looks wrong and then the bake looks wrong, then yeah, fix it from there. But the thing is, if someone does, let's say someone's making an object, and then they got something like this going on, there's a likelihood the engine's going to do something they don't want it to do. So, like, obviously you don't want it to look like, you don't want your n-gon to look like this. If it's on a flat face, it's probably fine, but I'd probably still be weary of it. Like, if you do something like that, I guess. Not that, but you know what I mean. This face here, for example. But generally, probably good to avoid it. The back left exhaust is bent on the monitor. Listen here, motherfucker. Did I release Superfire? I did, yes. It's in 1.0. I'm planning a DLC. I kind of like the black bars, but I also don't like the black bars. He's on his yacht right now. I want this to be smaller. No, I'd have to scale the UVs. Not great. We could probably do that. A very hacky way of doing it right now, but... Didn't know that was a loaded question. No, there's just a lot involved with optimizing, and it heavily depends on the subject as well, right? If it's a character model, more complicated things occur. If it's a... Wait, hold on. I don't think this is wrapping around where it should be wrapping. I'm seeing a weird emission here. Can I only see emissive? No way. There's no way of only visualizing the emissive? Balls! Oh. Shit. Here anywhere? I don't see it. Oh, I don't see it. Okay. Of course, that doesn't set the entire thing. God, that's so annoying in Blender. Can I change that? Is there a way of making it so fill will fill on all objects, not just the current selected one? Grrr. Ugh. Different outsides have different approaches and other things that need to be taken upon consider. Exactly. And also, what's also very important is your target hardware is also a very important thing to think about. Your target hardware is also extremely important. Okay, I'm going to do it this way instead. So then that way, we'll just do the inverse of it. Okay, so now just the screen is affected. Do you see that Blender added AI? They didn't really, but kinda. Didn't someone else kind of do it? So here, I think, honestly, here, I think we can probably... Oh, you know what would be sick? Now I think about it. To kind of create an effect here, do something kind of sick. Some sort of like... Can I blur that real quick? Okay, that did not do what I wanted it to do. Whatever. That could have an interesting effect where it has some darker edges. Yes. Yes. No, the Blender question was if you can... If there's a way to fill vertex colors... fill vertex colors. I think 128 by 128 is our best bet. Fill vertex colors on all objects selected. Okay, hold on. I kind of like how buggy it is. I kind of like how fucked up it looks. Although there's like some weird snapping going on from the camera, but... It's 2 frames per second. You are correct. It actually is 2 frames per second. Let's do 3 frames a second. However, I think I'm going to turn off always persist rendering state. Yeah, we're going to turn that off. Select the objects you want, switch to vertex paint, and then use Shift K to fill all the selected objects with color. Interesting. Why is it that even the fill vertex color button doesn't, like, work? Uh-oh. Something happened to the texture. I just realized. Did I edit the wrong UV map? I edited the wrong UV map because I didn't. I only added a UV map to this. I didn't add a UV map to anything else. Okay. I can revert the static mesh in Perforce, export that, and then use that version for the pieces that didn't create a... Should have noticed that earlier. It really pisses me off. Okay. That's really, really annoying. I have two different CRT monitors. I have this one right here. And then modified today. For some reason, I have one here, 30th of March. I might be able to use that one. We might be saved, actually. I might have the original. It is not scaled properly, but it is set up correctly. And that... Okay, we might be saved. Unless I modified this at all. Then, bummer. Select children. Hold on, I gotta get some water. Yeah, suddenly my throat felt like I just like ate sand. It was very odd. Okay, this is the original UVs. God, what a fuck up that was. That could have been really bad. That could have been catastrophic. It does mean that we're losing out on all of our modifiers, but that's okay. You know, shit happens. I fucked up, whatever. Okay, so I'll hide these really quickly. And then anything That is not that. I don't think I'm selecting anything else in here. I can just delete, and we can unhide this stuff, reparent it to this. Should have the right material. Does not. Now I'm concerned. Are these UVs in the right spot? I don't fucking know. This could be... We might have to still do the export. We'll see. Okay, link materials. I love how when you link materials, it still retains some of its old material IDs. Which is really annoying. Like if I link, just do the link. Okay. What a blunder that could have been. I think we're okay. I think we're okay. Yeah. I think we're okay now. Okay. I think we're good. I think we're good. I think we're good. Make sure to check the UV map sets if it didn't create new ones. I don't think it did, but let's see. No. We're good. The problem was that it didn't create the UV map too. So when I edited all the UVs thinking that everything created a second UV, which you have to click a different button, or you have to do shift and then click this, or control and then whatever the fuck. I ended up modifying the original UVs. Love that. Good. Yeah. Love that. Good stuff. But we don't need to do that because I just did some vertex painting, which honestly was fine. It was just the main screen that needed a separate UV. Okay, this looks fine. However, it doesn't really look like a screen. You know what I mean? I feel like it doesn't really look like a screen. Looks like a still picture. Well, to be fair, it kind of is. Now we can kind of see it moving along a little bit more. That's kind of sick, though. It's just, we need to make it look more like a monitor. Maybe it needs noise. Maybe it needs... more bloom or something. Make it larger? Like make the TV larger? What if we make it black and white? Security camera footage. Yeah, what if we make it black and white? Yeah, some scan lines I was also thinking about. Ah! Whoa! That's just the base color. That doesn't look very right. No, I think we got to keep the original base color, and then I think we have to grayscale it in here. Grayscale. Wait, what is the thing? Desaturation. Is the main gameplay loop ready yet? Well, you know, it's not really. It's, you know. Oh yeah, dude, the black and white is sick. I think I like that. I think I like that. Gameplay loop? Yeah, you know, gameplay loop, you know, yeah, you know, gameplay loop. Gameplay loop, you know. You know, we're getting there, we're getting there. Me working on a random security camera. Yeah, you know, you know. Yeah, right. Yeah, right. Right. No colors look sucks? You think so? I was wondering if we can maybe change the luminance factors. The luminance factors, what does that change? Does that make certain colors brighter? Oh yeah, it does. Wait, shit. Wait, what if we make red like 2? And then fraction, we can... Maybe what if we do half of the color is desaturated? Oh, yeah. I think I like that. Having it be like sort of grayscale, but not. I think it does need scan lines, though. I agree. Computer, add scan lines to the computer. I swear in the engine content, there is a texture that looks very close to what scan lines kind of look like. See if I can find it. Let me see if I can find it. Maybe. Maybe not. Maybe there's no texture for this. Maybe I'm going fucking crazy. Dude, what are all these files, man? Substrate? I don't care. Ah! How do I delete substrate out of my project? We got blue noise. We could use the noise and then stretch it. In fact, I think I might do just that. Why is it 1025? Why is this 128 by 8,192? Huh? What? What the hell? Wrong way. How many subs do I gotta give for you to play Bake or Die on stream? Bake or Die, huh? Bake or Die. I don't know if I'll be playing Bake or Die. Can I be honest with you? Do I have to apply? Oh, it's not going in runtime. Wait. We might be cooking. Might be going a little too fast, though. Also, I think it's on the wrong coordinate. Yes. Yes. Yes, man. Wouldn't the scan lines be going down? Oh yeah, slight X panning would be a good idea. Let's do like a 0.1. So then that way the yeah, I think I kind of fuck with that. It hurts to look at. It does hurt. It does kind of look. It does kind. It's a little. Yeah, you know, it's a little. I did kind of like the look of it when it was coordinate 0 for some reason, but it's technically incorrect. Technically incorrect. We could clamp it so it's not as much of a... Yeah, we could. So it's not a full 0 value, which could help. I think that looks cool. Can maybe slow it down a little bit. Can we add how do you add noise but randomize it so that it looks like noise? You guys know what I'm talking about? You guys know what I'm saying? How do you take this noise texture and then crash the engine? Distort the UVs with the noise? The fuck? Do whatever you did to the glass breaking from Suit for Hire? Oh, you mean crash the game? With a Niagara particle effect? Ah, yes, of course. Why, yes, of course. What if I multiply this by the noise texture? What the hell? What the hell is going on here? So how do we take a noise texture? I want whatever the monitor took. Hardcore drugs. Dr. Pepper. How can I take this and randomize the noise? Pan the Perlin on a different pan speed? I don't think panning it would make it look like noise, right? Plug that into the UV of noise? Hold on, what if we, instead of multiply on the panner, what if we multiply on the texture coordinate? Oh, I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying. Yes, yes, surely. It's doing the same thing. No. What about time? That's kind of cool. That's kind of cool. But I don't know if there's a way to do a random... Here we have a random float. We could just pan the... This wouldn't really work too well, but we could try. Yeah, see? Not really what I'd want. That's cool, though. But then we're just multiplying this and not adding noise to the entire thing. Kind of what I wanted. Yeah, like a static feel. Yeah, exactly. But I don't know how to do... See, like this is a panning texture. It's not really correct to do noise. How do you randomize noise that's already noise? What about using a sine to flip between a few textures with different offsets? There's got to be a way to do this, right? How is this a UE5 noise material effect? I know there's the noise node, but I want to use a noise texture. I'm actually kind of surprised. How did they do film grain? I'm going to try this directly in the UVs. I wonder how weird that will look. I wonder what will happen. Whoa. Not what we need. Well, let me just say, not what we need. Also, I think this needs to be fed with time. Because it's going in the negative. Wait, okay, how do we make it not go? Oh, we have to do +2. Well, it's not correct. But it doesn't look horrible. Well, I think another clamp would be a good idea. Into alpha of alert. Yeah, I know. I was just thinking if we could maybe scale it in and out and make it look random enough. Or make it kind of get fucky. But I think I know what you meant originally, though. Is we'll have two different noise textures and it flips between the two of them. I don't know if that would make it look like noise. It probably could, but... It's slop anyways, who cares? Ship the slop. Yes. The slop is in. There should be like a texture on top that shows like camera 1 and whatnot. Yeah, I think that looks sick. I like that. Hell yeah. Bring in guy 2. Oh, okay. I see why it's buggy when we test it locally. Both local clients are rendering on top of the same texture. So that's why it gets really weird. Okay, I see. Okay. So when we test on... when we test on actual server, we'll be fine. If local player only render it to texture. The thing is, the camera is not replicated, so we technically don't need to, but yeah, I guess we could just always just do that. If this is not replicated, whoever has authority is the client. I want to say that is how it would be done. Hold on. I still think even then that wouldn't work because there's still only one texture. Okay, we're gonna have to test that. The server for 99% of things. When it's an object that's not replicated, wouldn't the authority be to the local client? The local? Whoever is locally owned? I'm pretty sure that would go to... Authority would be go to Right? Would it not? I like the low frame rate. I think it makes it look funny. I'm cool with that. One problem, this is technically an electrical component and it's not tied into the electrics yet. So if the power goes out, this is still visible. But I think that looks cool. I think it just needs a little bit of an overlay on it. Why are we working on this again? Someone remind me. Why? What are we? Why are we? What is the? What's the? Whatever. It's for the gameplay loop. Yes, surely. Haha. The eternal delay of gameplay loop. All right, random TV is in. I don't know how long that took us. I think it took us like a solid 5 minutes. Items not colliding with doors. Fix that. The front train engine panels. We gotta make the horn, the health state, speed lever, and a welfare check button. What mechanic or gameplay does it enable? Well, now you don't have to look outside to look outside. Now you just look at the computer to look outside. Outside in the back. In your... Yeah. Can I also have a welfare check button? No. Only the train can have a welfare check button. Whoa, yo, watch this! You've never seen this shit before. It's like, dude, it's like, what's that one show, the French people, like, there's like a French show that where they go around the world and they do like crazy tricks and stuff. You guys know what I'm talking about? What do they call it? This is it right here. You guys know what I'm talking about? Jackass, the circus. Man, you motherfuckers. Man, someone's got to know what I'm talking about. Cirque du Soleil, yes! Welcome to the Cirque du Soleil! Bouncing a bunch of chairs on top of each other. Twitch did not like me calling French stupid. Are you sure you would like to write that? That seems extremely offensive. Are you sure you'd like to send this message? You're on the list, pal. You're not gonna like what comes next. What the? There's a glow stick here, but there's also not a glow stick here. Oh, there's a glow stick here. I see. Huh. You can't get up here because you don't know how to prepare yourself into a spot to jump properly. Stupid werewolf. Was it hard setting up the task JSON and the lunch JSON in C++? What? The task JSON? Who is Jason? Why did everything get so, like, loud all of a sudden? The lunch JSON. How hard was it to set up the lunch JSON in C++? Am I reading this correctly? Am I lagging? Do you guys see those little micro lag spikes? I think I'm going crazy. Oh, no, I'm not. There are little lag spikes. Is that the render target causing us to lag a little bit? To be fair, we shouldn't be rendering those render targets at all unless you're like close by to the computer. Yeah, the power, when the power goes out, the thing does not turn off. Okay, let's make it so this only renders when we're nearby. The distance is less than 500 units. Computer location, instance editable, show 3D widget, compile, save. Okay. So that means it will only render when we need it. Let me make sure I'm debugging that to make sure it's actually doing it. It's, oh, we don't use player character. We use player pawn. Silly me. I keep forgetting about that. It's still not successful. Oh, the computer location's in local space. God, what? How do I make this in world space? This mother... It's unnecessary computation. The C++ JSON twins, everything was written with intent. JSON, JSON, tomato, tomato. I can't. You're making my ability to read. You are actually impairing my ability to read. Like, I don't know how you're doing it. You have a superpower that's making it so I just don't know how to read anymore. Okay, so from this distance, the camera will no longer update. You guys think that's, I feel like that's okay. We can maybe do like less than 600. Okay, but that means now it won't update after 600 units, which I think is fine. The hell are we looking at? What is that? Oh, that's the flatbed. Wait, that's so sick. Do you guys just notice what I just noticed? When we enter the tunnel, the back of the train didn't enter the tunnel yet, so it was slightly delayed. Whoa! Can you make a distance filter so the further you're away? I was thinking about something like that, Fred. Making it so it's like the further you are away, the like less you see the screen. We can definitely do that on top of what we have right now. We could definitely do that on top of what we have right now. Yeah. I transmit my illiteracy. It's contagious. What? You can't do that. No. Huh? How he do that? Man. Ow. What the? Alright, cool. Completely random camera. Took us the entire stream. We fixed a couple things, improved a couple things. Gameplay loop still needs a lot of work. Tomorrow, in tomorrow's stream. Tomorrow. Can that gear fall out again? Yeah, we do that all. Yeah, it falls out quite a bit. Tomorrow. The plan tomorrow, we're gonna start working on the new cars. We have 4 new cars we need to make. One of them being the kitchen, one of them being the dining room, the dining hall. We have the laundromat and the apartments, which we technically have the apartments. It's just that one building with the rooms. We just have to modify it a little bit. Yeah. Yeah, that's it. Should the camera system be an upgrade? I feel like it should be an upgrade that you purchase. Dude, it's so loud. We gotta reduce some of the volumes of that stuff. One rock, 2 rock. Energy drink inside of floor. Werewolf that wants to kill me. Can't get up here. There's no nav mesh. Ha 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 ha. Doofus. I wish you could make it so a dude walks onto the train, slams a monitor down, and it just works. You know how much work that would take to do that? Hello, where is the werewolf? I cannot tell. There he is. He's over there. Yeah, boy. Are there 2 of them? All right. Cool. I do think the item delivery system should be on our to-do list as well, because having to run back and forth in train, kind of annoying. Kind of annoying. Gotta say, kind of annoying. Can we technically see? Is the werewolf over here? I like the security camera. It's kind of cool. Oh, great. Finishing a task has no gratifying feel such sound upon completion. Yeah, we do have to do a little bit more of that, I think. Definitely need to do some little stuff without going overboard on it either. Not like a whole ass screen. Gained 5 million XP. Blah, 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 blah. Unless maybe an XP system could be good. Maybe every time you complete something, a little bit of XP comes in. That's how you level up. I think there's leveling up in Peak. Can't you level up in Peak? Am I wrong? I swear there's levels in Peak. Like you can level up. There's no leveling. How is it that you unlock, cosmetics? I swear when you complete a run, you get, like... There are levels in Peak, just not XP. Right, right. There is a system, though. Right? Is there not? Where you, like... I know Lethal Company has a system for it.
Rat. Rat. I am the rat.
All right. See you guys tomorrow. Thanks for dropping. All right. I'll see you guys tomorrow. You good as a werewolf boss. What the hell is... whatever. All right. See you guys tomorrow. Good stream. We're getting somewhere, I think. You win an outfit that's all beat up? That's so funny, dude. All right. See you guys tomorrow? Yeah, tomorrow. See you guys tomorrow. I gotta do a workout. I gotta figure out what I'm gonna eat. What the fuck am I gonna eat? I gotta figure out my food. Maybe I'll eat some oats. Some oats. Oating it up. Oating it up. All right. See you guys later. See you tomorrow's stream. Thanks for dropping by.